Season 3 will be coming soon, I'd say before summer starts, so before June. Around May, around Avengers, around Avengers. Well, yeah, that took a while. We're finally reviewing Season 3 of Sonic's stop-motion adventures. It's kind of crazy that we're here. It feels like months and months and months ago that we reviewed the first one. I'm sorry for the long wait. It's been a long time. It's really cool that we're here. I'm so glad that we're here. I'm really excited to review this final season and see what's in store. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Season 3. Let's go. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Episode 20, Tables Turned, is the first episode in Season 3. Let's go ahead and get into this one. Tails gathers everybody together because they have all 7 Chaos Emeralds now. But Sonic's running a little late.
You took that alley with the lingerie store to get here, didn't you?
Well, I mean, how could you, maybe.
Is Sonic sexually attracted to mannequins? To avoid the Chaos Emeralds getting stolen, Tails tells everybody to take 1 Chaos Emerald with them, so the doctor would have to go through all of them instead of just having to go to one place.
Hey, would I be able to dress mine up like a girl?
Knuckles? Why on earth would you want to do that?
I'm not saying I want to. I was just asking if it was a possibility.
Yeah, do whatever you want, as long as the emerald is safe.
Oh!
Meanwhile, Eggman finds some leftover dark chaos energy inside his EDS system. It seems to be left over from when Sonic went crazy inside of the system. Since he knows all the Chaos Emeralds are gone and out of his grasp, and Sonic has them, he plans to set off a signal that puts dark energy inside of the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic's lazy ass thinks the best place to put the Chaos Emerald is under his bed. Great going, Sonic. Sonic gets what he deserves and the chaos energy goes right through him. Tails arrives and what could have been a really cool fight scene between 2 best friends really is just Tails dodging him and him smacking Sonic upside the head with the Chaos Emerald. That was anticlimactic. Since they know that it was dark energy that possessed the Chaos Emeralds and turned Sonic evil for a bit, everybody else has the Chaos Emeralds and they must go stop it. The rest of the episode is pretty much them fighting off a lot of their friends. But the difference between this episode and episodes from Season 2 is that the fight scenes have dialogue between them, they're fast-paced, fun, and coming with that fast pace, they're not drawn out whatsoever. I think it works in the video's favor that they have to fight off multiple people, so not every fight scene can be super long. I do think it gets a little drawn out when they have to fight all of the friends at once, but I do think it's sprinkled in with some of the series' best action, amazing dynamic shots that you don't normally see in stop motions, and some funny banter in between. But the last person to get a Chaos Emerald was Shadow. Sonic must fight him, but Shadow's pretty strong. And something I really love about this episode is that he brings back an idea from Season 1, the mock super form. I didn't think Season 1 would have been called back to at all, but I'm really glad to see it here. It kind of ties a lot of the stuff together. And it's really cool that it's the final season and he gives a little callback. Everyone's defeated, but they head back home. Sonic and Tails will decide what to do with the emeralds later, but for now, they're gonna take it easy. And by take it easy, the series is gonna take it easy. We'll get into that for the next 2 episodes. But what did I think of this one? Well, it was really good. It had a lot of really cool series ideas, brought things back from previous episodes of the series. Great action, fun story. It was just a very fun episode. It didn't do anything crazy to the plot, but it is the first episode of Season 3, so I'm not expecting it to do anything wild. This is how you do a chill, fun episode right. I like to call this a best case scenario episode from Season 2. It has a very similar structure, but it's so much better. I don't think it's the best episode by far. I'm gonna still give that to Gridlocked, but I do think it is really good. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 7.5. I like it a lot. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Episode 21, Curtain Call it's a piece of art. When I mentioned this show being chill for a bit, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. It turns out the Radnicks are flat out broke. They don't have any money because they spent it all on an amazing portrait, let me say. Steven, if you have that at your house, I'd love for you to send it to me so I can hang it up on my wall. They go see the others to talk about it.
I heard you guys were buying a place. Did you think of getting jobs or something?
We searched the city high and low for one, but no one wants to hire us on account of us being, robots.
Geez, even in the Sonic world, people are racist.
You know of any way they could make a good amount of money quickly?
Oh, I got an idea. Okay, Radnix, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go on a corner, and you're gonna go suck some... Knuckles suggests doing a play of all things, which is a very weird choice, let me just say. It turns out Amy wrote a play a few years back. They all read it, and...
Hey, this is pretty good, Amy.
It sounds like a good play.
I'm really feeling it. Interesting.
So you guys like it?
No, that's so much harder. Just do what I said. They eventually find their roles, recruit Shadow somehow, and begin production on a play. This is by far the most laid-back episode since I'd say Girls' Night Out. But this episode seems to have a point, and although the point isn't retrieving a Chaos Emerald or doing anything epic or crazy, it still has a purpose, even if it's just to get money for an apartment. As long as there's good dialogue, good jokes, and it's fun, I have no problem with this taking a break, and it's always good to have breathing room, and this is some of the best breathing room the series has had. The play's about to begin, and they have a full house. Sonic sees that Blaze is in the front row and tells Silver,
I'm only gonna be more nervous now.
Well, if you get nervous, just do what I do and imagine that she's in her underwear.
What?
Knuckles, don't be silly. I don't think she wears underwear. Maybe lingerie, I don't know.
what the hell is with the show and lingerie all of a sudden? A lot of the rest of the episode is really just a play. Now, something I've encouraged you guys to do from the very beginning is to check the series out yourself. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And if you haven't seen it in a while, I'd recommend for you to give yourself a refresher. I don't think it'd be necessary for me to run down the entire play, so I'm going to go ahead and recommend for you guys to check it out yourself. Just make sure to thank me later, it's hilarious. Eggman's thick self decides to crash the entire play. It turns out that he has a Chaos Emerald now because Vector's stupid ass decided to power the lights with one. A really cool fight ensues and they manage to get the Chaos Emerald back. The Radniks managed to get enough money for rent and all problems were solved. I think this is a really good episode. It was very chill, very fun. There were some plot hiccups and plot holes, but at the end of the day, it's a Sonic stop motion series and it's fine. I think this is the funniest episode Sonic Stop Motion Adventures has had. I think the number one thing about these new episodes of Sonic Stop Motion Adventures are that they are just fun. They have great action, great humor, and they just breeze by. I'm gonna go ahead and give this episode a 7. Very good episode, very fun, highly recommend for you guys to check it out. Spoiler alert, I don't like this episode. Don't get me wrong, this video is not poorly made, it's not a bad video, and it's much better than anything you would find on YouTube nowadays. But unfortunately, nothing really happens in this episode that advances the series. I'm really looking for an episode in the final season of the show to push the series forward in every way it can. But unlike last episode where there was some character building and development, nothing really happened here at all. The whole story is that Silver wants to go on a date with Blaze and he gets some bad advice from the Chaotix. He uses that for his date, but it doesn't go right, and then he figures out that that's not what girls want, and he doesn't get the girl, period. Sure, he learned not to be a douche, but they leave everything very open-ended. Nothing really happened here. Silver doesn't grow much and really just learns not to take advice from the Chaotix again. And sure, defying the expectation of Silver actually getting the girl in the end is pretty good and does give this video some brownie points for having him not get with the girl. It still doesn't help that at the end of the day, nothing happened in this video to any character that was involved. Sonic, Amy, Silver, Blaze, anybody. Now, this is not a bad video, as I mentioned. It's very funny, has some great lines, and it's good to have some downtime, but this really did nothing, had no climax, so it does lose a lot of points in my book. It is not the worst episode. It's very well made, very well paced, actually. It's just that I felt very unsatisfied at the end of this video. If Silver grew as a character by the end of this video, then I would be singing this video's praises. This could have been a very, very good episode that built on Silver, and this would have been great if he was used more prominently in future episodes, but unfortunately he's not. He doesn't grow, nobody grows. This was a very bland episode, so I'm gonna have to give this one a 5 out of 10. Okay, so I'm enjoying the season so far. It's been fun, funny, entertaining, action-packed. I'm excited to see where the story goes next, you know? Hopefully the next episode comes real soon. Oh, wait. Yeah, Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Episode 23 Nightmare took a long time to come out. So let's see if the long wait was worth it. It was. Now, in my personal opinion, this still isn't the best episode that the series has had, but it's a big step up from a couple episodes before it. I do think it is better than the past two, even though I did enjoy them in their own respective ways. I just personally think this is better in terms of filmmaking, story, everything. The plot is that Eggman has turned his sights from Sonic to the station square itself. And to find the right henchman to carry out the mission, he reboots Zalvandor from episode 19 to go on a match with the newest creation. That newest creation is named Zerado. Fun fact, Zerado is voiced by Pat Mac. Yes, the Pat Mac that I also desperately want to collaborate with is actually a voice in the show, which I think is a really cool addition. Zalvandor and Zerado go at it, but Zalvandor is absolutely obliterated. Zalvandor gets thrown into literally me, minus the fire and stuff, and we cut to Silver. Silver's going on and on about his relationship issues, and Silver's just basically turned into Ross from Friends.
Are you still on that?
Yes, I am still on that.
We were on a break!
See, same thing. Sonic got a letter warning him of what's to come the following day. He heads to Station Square. Pat Mac shows up and they fight. And literally that's what the rest of the episode is. It's just fighting. Zalvandor does show up because, surprise, he was still alive in the dumpster. But that's what the rest of the episode is. They stay on this one exact set, they bring in a couple of extra characters, but nothing crazy happens. Pat Mac is destroyed by Sonic turning into Supersonic, and there's an alliance somewhat formed between Sonic and Zalvandor. Now, the stop motion in this episode is absolutely incredible. It's so smooth, it looks great. The colors seem to pop a bit more, and it does look a bit better with the camera. I overall did enjoy this video, even if the end of the video was just a lot of talking and fighting. It progressed the plot, it left us on a cliffhanger, and I really enjoyed the video. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 6.5 out of 10. I really liked it. I liked what they did with the characters. It was a bit small scale, even though it was much higher scale than past two episodes. And that after credits scene just added extra points in my book. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures episode 24, Chaos Buffer, is the shift of the series. We've officially left the slice of life behind, as well as small threats facing Sonic and his friends. We're now in the final stretch. The main conflict is coming. The Radniks were given a Chaos Emerald by Tails, because ever since Sonic went Super, the Emeralds have been acting up. They think the Emeralds being around are causing issues. Knuckles and Shadow both go to the center of Station Square because they feel a message coming from the Chaos Emeralds. Dash arrives but is acting strange. It turns out that he was being possessed by the Chaos Emeralds and doesn't remember anything. The reason that Knuckles and Shadow weren't possessed / knew what was going on and felt the same strange message is because they both are in tune with the Chaos Emeralds. Tails thinks that there's a negative energy going around them, so he calls Sonic up to come over. To read the energy levels and see what's going on, they have Sonic turn Super. Sonic deforms from Supersonic, and it turns out that the energy is 2 times what it usually is. Shadow takes a go at it and...
Wow, at least you lasted more than 5 seconds.
That's what she said!
Tails comes to the conclusion that they've been using the Chaos Emeralds way too much over the years, and he's going to create a device to control it. Sonic is having a strange dream, and the Chaos Emeralds are acting up. It seems that the energy is being taken away from them, and being replaced with this weird symbol. The building collapsed where Sonic and Shadow were testing out the Chaos Emeralds, and Sonic wants to find out what's going on. Sonic visits Eggman, and this truly is one of the best moments, not only in this episode, but this series. When there's interesting dialogue that is meaningful to the plot and characters, it's very entertaining and it makes for a good watch. No fight scene, nothing crazy, just simply Sonic and Eggman talking. I enjoy it. I think it's actually the best part of this episode. And this episode is mainly just dialogue and exposition. Now there's one problem with this episode, and it's most prevalent in this scene right here, and that's the fact that there's a lot of telling and not showing. I've mentioned this back in the first episode of this series, and it's stuck with the show since. It just sucks that we're being told everything, and we can't be shown anything in a very creative way. It's really just dialogue. Fortunately, it's not horrible and it doesn't bring the entire episode down. The machine is made, they get all the emeralds together, but everything doesn't go according to plan. This was a pretty good episode. Is it as well-rounded as 18? No, it wasn't, because it did have to bring up a lot of exposition and setup for the future finale. But it did everything it needed to do, and it was entertaining throughout. It left me intrigued, and it left on a pretty good cliffhanger at the end that left me excited for the future installments. Was there a lot of exposition? Yes, there was a lot of exposition, and I would much rather would have been told in a different way, but you know what? It was still a pretty good video and a pretty decent installment. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7 out of 10. Really good setup for the end. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures episode 25, Call Me Bedlam, is a very, very good episode. Let's go ahead and dive into this so we can get to the finale. Bedlam comes basically out of the Chaos Emeralds and everybody is very confused. Now usually my cynical self would say Exposition the Hedgehog comes in, but that's not necessarily relevant here. The reason for that being is that it's almost needed at this point. The characters are confused and want answers, so he delivers it to them. And it just makes sense. His reason for being here is circumstantial. They've been using and abusing the Chaos Emeralds too much. Now I actually really like that, and the reason for him being here and doing what he does makes sense. Surprisingly, Steven made a very complex and interesting villain. He's not necessarily bad just to be bad, he has a reason for being bad. He sees what he does as good, like Thanos. I'm sorry, I just had to make that comparison. I honestly didn't expect such good character writing from this series, but I guess I've been proven wrong. This is actually a really well-written character. Bedlam is frankly here to kill Sonic and Eggman. He's here to protect the Chaos Emeralds in his own way, and with the threat of killing Sonic, a fight ensues. With the EEM system, Shadow manages to go super and sustain it for a while. Now, spoiler alert, this is Shadow's last time going super in the entire series, and it was a pretty great send-off as he saved a lot of his friends. Sonic got knocked out, so him and Tails dipped. They have approximately 1 week before he comes to kill Sonic and Eggman, and now Shadow, since he's now on his shit list. We have a sweet scene between Sonic and Tails, and then everybody hashes some stuff out. And then Bedlam goes to threaten Eggman the same way he did Sonic and Friends. This was really good. It was basically the same as last video, it just had way more going on, better fight sequences. In fact, I don't think there were any fight sequences in the previous episode. Good performances, great animation, all around everything was pretty good here, except it's been building up to the finale, so it didn't really have an amazing conclusion. It was a really good episode, however, and I hold it around the same as the previous episode, just slightly better, and it's almost at gridlock level, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 7.5. It was really, really good. Alright, enough playing around. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures episode 26, Shot in the Dark, is now the best episode of Sonic Stop Motion Adventures. We have a pretty interesting and very well done scene that humanizes Bedlam. It once again shows that this is purely business. This is not him being a villain just to be a villain. He's doing this because it is quote unquote his job. He's not a bad guy by any means. He just has a twisted sense of reality. We find out through this scene that the week is almost over, and we cut over to Sonic and friends sparring, preparing for the big battle. We arrive on a set that is very interesting. It doesn't look cool just because it looks cool, it has a reason. They don't want to have any disasters in the city, so it makes sense that they're in an abandoned location. No big twist or turns, Bedlam arrives, and the fight goes as planned, really. In a shocking turn of events, Metal Sonic arrives, sent by Dr. Eggman to help Sonic out in the battle. Eggman wants to be the one to take Sonic down himself, so he doesn't want to give somebody else the pleasure of doing that, so to defeat Bedlam, he sends him. Also, there's a pretty cool visual effect with the eyes in the video message. I just really like that addition. Other than Metal Sonic, no one's really landed a blow to Bedlam, so Shadow removes his inhibitor rings and goes crazy. Now, I have no real issues at all with what was done with Shadow in this episode, but there are things I would personally have done with the series finale that weren't done in this or the future episode. Personally, what I would have done was kill off Shadow. Yes, that might be surprising, but I really would have done that. What I would have had happen is Sonic get really hurt, but Shadow remove his inhibitor rings to help Sonic out, and he beats down Bedlam to near death. Unfortunately though, his chaos energy runs up, and Bedlam gets the best of him, as Shadow's energy is completely gone and he's tired. This would get a hold of Sonic's emotions and hurt him deeply, so he would turn into Dark Supersonic in a really awesome fan service moment. It would provide some death for Shadow and Sonic in the moment, and I think it would have been a really good send-off payoff for him at the series finale, and it also would have provided Sonic some motivation. But once again, I have absolutely no issues with how the series ended off, but that's just personally what I would have done with a major character death to provide Sonic some development and also motivation for the final battle. Sonic goes super with the excess chaos energy, and then this happens. Honestly, that alone should have won this series an Emmy for best sound editing and sound mixing. That was amazing. We have no idea where we are right now, but it sets up perfectly for the series finale. Like I said, this is the best episode so far. Everything about this is pretty much perfect and better in every way. The story is great, the characters great, the jokes land pretty well, the editing, the sound design, everything about this episode is pretty much perfect. Let's not even get into set. The set was amazing. I can go on and on about how much I love this episode, and it's such a great setup for the series finale. This is just amazing. This is better than Gridlock times 2. That's right, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Well, here we are. Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Finale, Episode 27, Forward, is the final episode of Sonic Stop Motion Adventures. Let's go ahead and dive in for the last time. The friends find out that Sonic is still alive and in his super form. We then cut back over to the fight. Not too much of story happens during the fight, but let me just say, this is one of the best fight scenes in all of the show. I think I might slightly prefer the fight from the previous episode, but this is still really, really good. It serves as what it needs to be for the story. No crazy locations for them to fight in, no destruction. It's a very simple location. Not too much crazy can happen here, and he did everything he could to make this as engaging as possible, because believe me, this could have been very boring. Sonic tries to justify his use for the Chaos Emeralds, which is perfectly justifiable, but Bedlam isn't taking it. It appears to be the end of the road for Sonic, but everybody gets in contact with him, and the inspiration he needed was right there. His friends, which I think is a beautiful thing. Not only does it send a really good message, even if it wasn't intentional, but they've been a giant presence in not only Sonic's life, but the series as a whole. Sonic is supersonic right now because of his excess chaos energy, but when Sonic knocks the Chaos Emeralds out of Bedlam, he turns into hypersonic. And I did have a seizure while watching this, but it's perfectly fine. It was well worth it. And just like that, Bedlam is defeated. Since he defeated Bedlam, Sonic is now the moderator. Sonic returns home.
What the?
Sonic's alive. He returned home safely. He won. He defeated Bedlam. So, it calls for celebration. They're gonna throw a party. But before anything can go down, Sonic has to go visit somebody. I'm not joking when I say this, but this might be one of, if not my favorite moment in the entire finale. It's strangely emotional. Maybe it's after years and years of my childhood watching these two go at it, seeing it all come to an end, and not bitterly, but with mutual respect almost. With the smile on Sonic's face, the charming dialogue, the swelling music, it honestly choked me up. It was very sad to watch. Then the party happens, and I really enjoyed this scene. Steven went all out with the set design in the final 2 episodes, and I really like this set too. The props, everything looks really nice. It feels like a nice send-off to a lot of the characters. Sonic and Shadow have a really nice talk, even though I did go over how I think their stories should have ended with each other. The send-off to Knuckles and the Chaotix are really nice. Silver and Blaze have a really good goodbye scene, as well as the Radniks. But then Sonic steps out onto the porch. Since Sonic is the moderator, he usually would have to stay inside the realm, but Bedlam offered that he'll stay in the realm and stay there, while Sonic can go back into the real world and look after the emeralds in person. Bedlam had an amazing story arc over the past 3 episodes. They really built him, internally and externally, and I really enjoyed his character, and he did not disappoint at the end of the series. I really enjoy the talk between Sonic and Tails, and then we get the final words.
Well, Bedlam, on the off chance you're able to hear me right now, it looks like you've got nothing to worry about. I never expected I'd be handed down a job so important, but I'm not going to be taking it lightly. You've left the fate of the Chaos Emeralds resting in some very capable hands. So, it looks like this adventure has come to a close. Oh, but that just means another one's getting started, right? And I guess that's it.
Yeah. I guess that's it.
Hey guys, it's me, Supersonic Speed 10, making my first video on YouTube. And I hope you guys like it, my things I'm doing. To give you guys some heads up, I am going to be making stop motions, reviews, blogs, updates, collection videos. Well, updates for my collection videos as well. And, yeah, so I'm very excited about, making this new channel and videos.
Feels like just yesterday I was making that first video. When I was a kid, a child, having fun, living a life without a care in the world. I loved my childhood. It was amazing. I can't express how much I loved it. And Sonic Stop Motion Adventures was a part of my childhood. I'll always remember the sleepovers where we binge-watched episodes, and I'll always remember the early mornings waking up to see the brand new episode that came out overnight. I'll always remember Sonic Stop Motion Adventures for being there for me, always, because it was a part of my childhood. Every day I grow older, that childlike innocence goes away from me. Those pieces of my childhood eventually end. PitbullFan77 inspired me to become a YouTuber. It's hard facing the fact that he's gone. But Sonic Stop Motion Adventures wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for Sonic. And nobody has encouraged and supported my love for this character more than my mom. I'll never forget the trips to Sonic Boom. I'll never forget the trip to San Diego. I'll never forget the hundreds and hundreds of dollars of merchandise that she's bought for me, even when she didn't have the money to. The two constants throughout my childhood were Sonic and my mom. She set up this YouTube channel. She supported my love for Sonic, and she supported me. Seeing parts of my childhood end is hard, but I'll never forget it. I'll never forget those precious years. And to all the young kids out there who aren't teenagers yet, heck, you aren't even preteens yet, keep this message in mind. Keep dreaming, keep doing, keep your head up, and keep on. Thanks, Steven. Thank you, Mom, for the childhood. And now, I'm gonna keep on. You haven't seen the last of me. Far from it. I'll continue to be there for all of you, every week. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.